Our gospel today comes from the Gospel of Mark, where we read, "The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. He said to them, 'Come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest a while.' For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they hurried there on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of them. As Jesus went ashore, he saw a great crowd and had compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. When they had crossed over, they came out to land at Gennesaret and moored the boat. When they got out of the boat, people at once recognized him and rushed about that whole region and began to bring the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed." Let us pray. Lord, may your words only be spoken and your words only heard, and we do ask this all for your love's precious sake. Amen. Please be seated. Well, in today's gospel, we hear the disciples celebrating the power of love. Jesus has sent them out to do mission work, to go out and visit villages and towns and help people in any way they can. And now they're coming back and they're telling all the great things that God has done through them, and they're celebrating those things together, celebrating the power of love. And that's what we're going to do today. Continuing the tradition that Jesus started, that the disciples kept going. We've sent out some disciples in this past week, young people from this church, gone up to Philadelphia, done God's work there, helping people in a variety of ways. And they're going to tell us a little bit about the ways that God moved through them and in them and with them, so that we can celebrate that together as well. So with no further ado,
good morning, everyone. First and foremost, in case I should forget, I want to thank you all for your support of our mission trips. These trips are wonderful, and I enjoy watching our youth on all of these trips. You would be amazed at what they do to serve the Lord. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what we did while we were in Philadelphia, and then some of our youth are going to speak to you about what touched them on our trip. The theme of this year's trip was interruptions. And I tell you, our children's lives were interrupted last week. From the early mornings to our late evenings, they worked so hard without a complaint. We started with devotions Monday morning at 7:30 with the story of how the disciples' lives were interrupted. How one minute they were fishermen, and the next minute they were called to walk beside Jesus and be a fisher of men. And that's what our youth did this week. They served at youth camps in the morning, working beside the children and helping the leaders of those camps. Every afternoon they did a service project, from cleaning lots in poor section of the cities to cleaning off the basketball court at the Salvation Army, from visiting with senior citizens and bringing them joy, from working with people who were wheelchair bound. We spent an evening going out and handing out hygiene packets and lunch and talking with the homeless. We had a worship night. We shared every evening. We closed with debriefs so that people could share their feelings from the day. It was a wonderful week, and I'm excited to let you hear some of the youth share their week with you.
Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lucas. I went on the mission trip to Philadelphia this week, and it was a fantastic experience. Like Ms. Peterson said, every morning we went to a kids camp. My group went to Camp Peace. It was in Camden, New Jersey. And these kids were incredible. So they were just so enthusiastic about anything you wanted to do. They never just sat down and like, I don't want to do this, no matter what it was. And they served breakfast and lunch there, so every meal they would pray. And when they asked who wants to pray, just all their hands would shoot up. And when they picked someone, everyone would cheer for them. And I thought it was just incredible how much they love God and how enthusiastic they were about everything. I really just saw the light of God shine through those kids. And then on Wednesday, we did Hands of Hope, which was when we handed out bag lunches and hygiene kits to the homeless. One man we met, his name was George. He was in the Air Force, and he was about 70 years old, so he's been homeless for a little while. So when we were talking to him, he was talking about how he knew everybody in the area, and there was these Quaker family that came by on Thursday to hand out like food and clothes sometimes. So he's waiting on them, and we were like, "Hey George, it's only Wednesday." So then he checked his watch and was like, "Okay, sorry guys, I have somewhere I need to be." And then while we were talking to him, another man came up. His name was Mike, and Mike was a really nice guy. He was Hispanic, 37 years old. He said he'd been living on the streets for 15 years. He was, just from talking to him, you could tell like he didn't speak English very well, but he was a very honest guy. He was living in a church nearby. They had an agreement so he would sleep there. And so after we gave him the lunch, there was another homeless guy came over and he was like, "Hey guys, there's a guy eating out of the trash can over there. Do you guys have anything for him?" And I felt really bad because we just handed our last lunch to Mike. But then Mike went and he offered part of his lunch to the man eating out of the trash can, which I thought was just incredible because there's this man that has very little and he's offering to give it up just to help someone else. And then afterwards, before I can even say, he was grabbing our hands to pray. And all the people that we met really they just loved God so much. They were so enthusiastic. It was really just an eye-opening experience this week. Thank you.
Hi, for those who don't know me, my name is Meredith Rugen, and this was my first mission trip. I didn't know what to expect from the beginning, and at the end, it was a very God-opening experience. The kids that we went to see on the first day at Harold O. Davis, they were so energetic. They said that they had missionaries coming every week, and once we walked in the room, they were so energetic, coming up, talking to you, and that I saw God through their eyes. They were wanting to know your name and get to know you the very first day. And then on Tuesday, my group, went out to Hands of Hope, and we met a guy named Kevin. He said he was been on the years for about 10 years, he was homeless for about 10 years, and he said that he's living his life through Jesus. He's doing everything he can to be like Jesus. And he said when he told his mom that he wanted to do that, his mom was a hardcore Catholic, and she said Jesus is a myth. Everything that he did, all the disciples, the Bible, it's a whole myth. And he's like, I don't care, I'm gonna go live like him. And also, when we went on our prayer tour on the last day on Friday, we were standing in the middle of the field and we were praying in a big circle. And a huge gust of wind just went in the middle of the circle, and I just felt God in that experience. And there was a big hawk flying above us, and I just felt protected by God. Thank you.
So, I'm very tired. So I must have done something right. I was actually tired throughout this whole week, but every morning, I don't know, God must have given me energy, because whenever I got to a site, I just got a sudden burst of energy, and I was just filled with it, and so I could do the most I can do to help out. Like they said, we went to a camp every morning, and the first day, I was told by a little girl that she did not like me at all. And she turned out to be in my group, and I was like, oh, this can be fun. And by the end of that first day, she did not want me to go. She was like loving me, and it was fantastic. And that's how like a lot of the kids were. At first they they may have someone just instantly would have gone up to you and been like, oh, hey, how you doing? But others were just more like, oh, another group, ooh. But once they start to know you, they start to bond to you, and then that's when all like the magic happens. And they're all just very loving, very energetic, and they can wear you down, but at the same time, they just fill you up. And I would go from there and move on to another like event. Like we'd be moving dressers for 2 hours and rearranging stuff, and I was just very energized. I just wanted to do it all so I could help as many people as I could, because that's what we came there for. And when I see all the looks of the people who I've helped and how joyful they are, it just gave me like a great feeling, and I just can't wait to do another one. Thank you.
Good? Okay. So at the end of this week, actually several times towards the end of our mission trip, we heard a song called God of this City, and we listened to it on the way home. We heard it during our prayer tour. It sort of became a theme song for us this week. I also took my ukulele with me and had a lot of fun playing around with it. I think Hannah really wants to steal it from me because she started playing it too. And so we just want to play this through just one time for you real quick to kind of cap off everything that we've been talking about. If you want to sing along, the chorus goes, there is no one like our God. There is no one like our God. Greater things have yet to come. Greater things are still to be done in this city.